wow, this was a surprise to me. And wow, was I blew away by this story. As soon as I heard that an unknown Agatha Christie short story was resurfaced, was discovered, I had to read it, and I had to get a physical copy of it. This was The Wife of the Kenite, and it was first published in the September 1922 issue of The Home, an Australian quarterly. They forgot all about it for a long time, and it resurfaced in 2018. Last year I read the ebook version of it, and I just had to get a physical copy of it. And it was again published in this series, Bodies from the Library. And this is a short story collection. There are several books with short stories in them in this series, and these series all contain short stories by well-known writers. And these short stories are often forgotten. This is Obscure Book Adventures. And I'm your host, Annie. And this is the third Agatha Christie story that was published. For my Agatha Christie project, I will read every Agatha Christie story in order of publication. And this, well, like I said, this story just blew me away. So I will talk about why in this video, why this story blew me away, and a little bit about the publication of it. So the story. The story is about an ex-German soldier who has taken to being a political agitator who flees Johannesburg. All this is set just after the First World War. I won't spoil the plot for you, as I recommend you read it for yourself. But I must warn you, this is not your cozy mystery. Your traditional cozy Agatha Christie mystery, which, well, Agatha Christie became famous for. No, this isn't a mystery at all. This is much more a thriller than a cozy mystery. It's not a mystery at all. It is so well written that I can easily imagine Hitchcock turning this into a film, as Hitchcock is known to be the master of suspense. And The Wife of the Kenite has a lot of suspense in it. Some say it's horror, but I don't quite agree with it. It's not horror in the traditional sense of the word anyway. There are no monsters, no ghosts, no blood and gore or anything in it. Although I must admit there is some psychological fear in it, so you could call it horror because of that, but I personally see this more like the psychological fear that you find in your suspenseful psychological thriller kind of novels that are being published nowadays. The fear is not created by monsters or anything traditional horror anyway. There's little known about the circumstances surrounding the writing and publication of the story. We know Agatha Christie was commissioned to write the story for the Australian magazine The Home, and she was in Australia in May and June of 1922. Before coming to Australia, she had been in South Africa, so maybe this could be the reason that this story was set in South Africa. She mentioned the story in a letter dated May the 9th of 1922. So if she submitted the story during this time, she was in Sydney, and it would be in time to be published in the September 1922 issue of The Home, which was a quarterly magazine. The writing style. A little bit more about the actual, about the story. The writing style I find just excellent. Paragraphs are packed with suspense. The story is really compact. If you get what I mean, nowhere there is a word too much. We get the feeling of uneasiness and fear just by using suspense, and not so much, or not at all, acts of violence and blood and gore. But we know there's something terrible to come, although we don't actually read about it. Maybe that's why people call it horror instead of a thriller, but I consider this to be more a thriller. The story is so unlike the Agatha Christie stories that I know of and that I have read, that this was just such a pleasant surprise to me. Yes, the story is very similar to a story from the Bible, but don't let that hold you back. Reading The Wife of the Kenite. I haven't read the story in the Bible, I must admit, but from I read in the Song of Deborah, the Bible is much more gruesome than Agatha Christie's story. Agatha Christie relies on holding back information and the power of suggestion to let our minds imagine the horror that is about to come. And I find that my imagination can come up with much more horrific things and such than anyone can write about. And everybody's personal fear is just different. So I think letting the reader visualize the horrific things in the story, in their own mind, can be much more powerful than literary writing, blood and gore. I find blood and gore just, well, filthy and disgusting. But maybe that's me. The Wife of the Kenite. I can highly recommend you get a copy of it. You can of course get the e-copy, the e-novel, or the e-copy of the short story. It's a short story. But you can also get a copy of the bodies from the library if you want to read it in physical format. Well, hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.